Hi, I'm Andrea Stone. I'm a wife, mother of two, soccer coach, dance mom, instructional designer, part-time professor, and reluctant minivan driver. In this talk, I will explore the topic, can women really have it all? To begin, let's rewind to 1963 with Betty Friedan's The Feminine Mystique. This book launched the second wave of feminism, which encouraged women to move beyond the sphere of influence in the home and then the family and into the world of work. At this time, married women were not even allowed to be employed at OG&E where I work. Her book begins with a quote. It says, as she made the beds, shopped for groceries, chauffeured Cub Scouts and brownies, and laid beside her husband at night, she said, is this all? Well, fast forward to 2013, and no, Betty, no, this is certainly not all. Essentially, what happened was the world of work was laid out on top of women's existing responsibilities for home and family. And so the opportunities in the world of work have changed, but as a society in general, we haven't expanded as much. And if that wasn't enough, we've also upped the bar on motherhood and homemaking through things like mommyguilt.com. You may know it as Pinterest. And the result is that almost a third of mothers leave the workforce, and 84% of women would like to stay home if they could afford it. For some women, the choice to be a full-time mom is the right thing to do. But if women choose to or need to stay in the workforce, what are their prospects? Well, in general, women do not become leaders in our organizations. We have greater educational attainment than men, but only make up 16% of the Fortune 500 leadership, 4% of the actual CEOs, and less than 1/5 of our Congress. And Oklahoma is not much better. In fact, it's worse. The percentage of women in our legislature is among the lowest in the nation. And none of Oklahoma's top companies are headed by women. And so, additionally, women in Oklahoma only make 76 cents for every dollar made by a man. Now, there are a variety of reasons for this, but certainly the balance between work and family impacts this number. Deborah L. Rode identified 3 reasons for women's lack of leadership advancement. They were unconscious biases against women, exclusionary networks, that good old boys club, and work and family barriers. And so we've encouraged women to enter the workforce, but we haven't encouraged men to take the same leaps in their traditional women's roles. And the result is that even high-achieving women are still assuming the major responsibility for the home, and that limits their progress in the world outside their family. So what can women do? Well, first is that we need to prioritize. So if you come to my house, please ignore Mount Washmore in my laundry room. Sometimes doing fun projects with my daughter is simply more important. And at work, I try to focus on key areas where we can get the most impact. Some women may even decide that having a child just isn't their priority. And a corollary is to abandon perfection. Your child will remember mommy cursing at those stupid M&Ms much longer than she's going to remember that 3-year-old birthday cake. So in your personal and professional life, remember that sometimes good is good enough, and done is often better than perfect. And if you do work, lean in. Sheryl Sandberg's book has lots of great advice. Be present and don't quit advancing simply because you're a parent. If you're doing unpaid work, find things that you can use your skills for and add them to your resume so when you go back to the workforce, you have something. And think of your career more as a jungle gym and not a ladder. We are no longer climbing up a consistent path to an eventual goal. We are jumping around and exploring different areas for greater flexibility. Or sometimes we'll just sit out for a little while and come back to climbing later. And how can organizations help? Well, they can embrace family-friendly policies and life-friendly policies, such as part-time hours, job sharing, different things to do to boost retention and increase productivity. 40% of people will actually take less money to work at a job with more flexibility. Organizations also need to explore the different unconscious barriers to female success. When men are considered great leaders and women are considered to be bitches, we have a problem we need to think about. And women, be sure to pick your partner carefully. This decision can impact your career more than your choice of major, your first job, and those things. And men, examine your assumptions. Are you the kind of man that will support a woman who wants to have it all? Now, this is not an easy challenge. Men are being asked to do things that they've never been asked to do before, and they've been asked to do child rearing and housekeeping that they aren't really trained to do. So that we have mommy and me classes still, and we wonder, what happened to that stay-at-home dad's job? So Warren Buffett has said that he was privileged to work during a period when he was only having to compete against half the population. So can women have it all? Well, we've come a long way since 1963, but we have a lot to do to truly have it all at once. He only competed against half the population, but with my daughter's generation, I hope to give Warren Buffett a lot more competition.